Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be starting our December 2023 last book of the year lazy book club pick, and you guys picked Immortal Longings. Now, guys, when I picked this and put it in the poll, this had like a 3.8 something on Goodreads, and it's now like a 3.55, and it's been going down like daily as I've been checking it and putting off reading it. And I'm just like, and I'm wondering if it's you guys that are actually bringing the rating down, because pretty much everybody has been commenting on other videos saying how much they don't like it. And I'm just like, oh no. Oh no. So my expectations, which were like really, really high because I really enjoyed Chloe Gong before, are like really low. They are so low, which I think is going to put me at an advantage for this book. I'm hoping, because my expectations are so low for this book, that even if it's better than I thought, it could be like a 3. So right now, my assumption is I'm giving this like a 2 or a 3, but I am not DNFing it. I am not DNFing it. I already did my one DNF that I allowed myself this year for Vampires of El Norte, and I don't want to DNF this. So we're not going to. We're just not going to. You can already tell I've started reading it a little bit. I always do this intro after I start reading it. Anyway, yeah, we are going to be reading Immortal Longings. All I know about this book is it's supposed to be like Hunger Games meets something. It definitely seems sci-fi fantasy-esque, almost dystopian-esque future kind of thing going on, where rich eat the poor kind of thing going on. If you're poor, you're very poor. If you're rich, you're incredibly rich. And it does take place in this single, like, combined city, and it seems interesting. And there's like jumping into other bodies, there's a big to the death game, so there's a lot going on. So again, my hopes were really high. Currently they are very low, but we're gonna get into this and I will update you when I get to like the first checkpoint. This is the first update. It is also majorly overdue, and I probably should be doing the first update not in bed, but it's 6:30 in the morning and I can't sleep. So we're gonna do the first update. What is today? It is the 28th. It is the 28th. I actually really needed to do this update back on whatever Friday was, but that's when I came down with the stomach flu. That was so fun. That was so fun, guys. I was sick I really was only really sick for about 24 hours, and I even got a fever. Like I got, it was a very low grade fever. I got up to 99.6, and normally I'm like 97.6. So for me, that was pretty high. I haven't gotten a fever in a really, really long time. So that was also fun. And I got crazy body aches for about 6 hours. My legs hurt so bad for about 6 hours from a combination of like dehydration and I think the low grade fever. And I was also for about 3 hours when it started. It was so much fun. Oh, that being said, I am behind reading this book. It also doesn't help that it is something. This book is something. I basically switched to Kindle. I'm lucky I got my Libby hold came in because no one wants to read this, so it's really easy to get on Libby. Guys, I promise this book, when I picked it to put it on the thing, you guys picked it too. Keep that in mind. It's not just me. This was like a 3.8 on Goodreads, okay? I make a point to not put anything low from Goodreads on a book list, because I don't want people to not like it. I want pretty much everyone to enjoy the book. And this and now it's like a 3.55. So I don't know what happened in 3 months, but apparently everybody started reading it. And yeah, so now I'm just like, yeah, this is going great. So anyway, I really need to do a first update. I think I'm 72 pages into the book, and I feel like I've been reading so much longer. So much longer. I also thought this was going to be a lot shorter because the book seems short, but the words are so tiny. The words are so small. So I'm also loving that. Basically, first update, it's just weird. Like, And this is me talking as somebody who had These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends as two of my favorite books the years that I read them. So I don't know. I don't know if this is legitimately just the first series was a fluke and now we're going into like, oh, this is not good, or it's just she changed her writing style to write an adult fantasy book, because I haven't read, I have them all, which makes me really nervous. I have Foul Lady Fortune and all those, which have good ratings on Goodreads. So I'm thinking it's just she changed her writing style for Immortal Longings, and this is just not it. Which I could end up liking it, because I am at 72 pages in. I don't hate it. I'm definitely somewhat confused about what is going on, but I don't hate it. It's just weird. So I feel like we need to go through a recap. Another reason that I really wanted to read it on Kindle is because I've been doing highlights. Like, yeah, I could tab stuff, and I do have some stuff tab in the physical book, but the highlight function, especially for this book, has been very helpful. So we're going to go through some of the stuff that I highlighted, because it's a confusing book. There's a lot going on in this book right now. So starting off the book, this is following a couple different main players. We are kind of living in this area called San Air, which is the capital city. It's like it's twin cities, with one of the cities being San and one of them being Air. And after, I don't remember which city, one of the royals was dispatched from one of the cities, and the remaining city basically kind of like took over the other city, and they have become one big conglomeration. And there's a lot of poverty, a lot of just terrible things. And this is kind of, it feels very dystopian, somewhat. That's why it's so weird. It's like fantasy dystopian, which I don't know if I've read before. I've read plenty of like sci-fi dystopian, but this gives off it gives off sci-fi setting vibes, but fantasy plot vibes, if that makes sense. It's an odd combination of things, which I think already sets the scene of it being weird. So then we have our major players. We have August, who is I don't know if he's technically the crown prince right now. He is considered the prince because the king doesn't have heirs, so he is in the process of adopting August, this is one of the things I highlighted. August is August Shenzi now, but he was born August Avia to a rubber factory owner and his seamstress second wife. It wasn't until his father's sister married King Casa that they were all brought into the palace when August was 8 years old. So he doesn't have any royal blood in him, but through marriage, he can be part of the royal line. So we already have that kind of thing going on. So they're waiting for some adoption papers to go through. So August is directly in line to become king of San Air. Then one of our other major players is Calla, who is royal blood, and she's the one who killed the royal family of one of the cities, even though she's the daughter. She killed the king and queen for reasons we don't know yet. I'm assuming it's corruption, because that's what it seems like this whole thing is everything is corrupted, and she is now hell-bent on killing the remaining king. Then our other major player, was his name Anton? What is his stupid name? Anton. Okay, so our other major player is Anton, and we find out that he actually does not know where his body is. It was requisitioned basically by the royal palace, and it turns out he grew up as a best friend to August, and his family were like royal advisors or something like that. I don't think I highlighted that. Did I highlight that? Anton hasn't had contact with his birth body since his exile, but it matters little to him. Yeah, so that's kind of what we know. We don't really know why he was exiled, but he was BFFs with August. So that's kind of the setup of our players. And right now, Calla, the one who killed her parents, is in semi-hiding and she's hiding out with some of the people from, or like, her royal palace that she knew there, who like took care of her, I think. So that's kind of the setup, and we get into the story talking about Kala has been living in this like rundown apartment. It's basically, they're all rundown apartments. Chloe Gong made a very interesting point to bring up the living situation in this city, and it definitely seems like she was taking a poke at the highly populated cities in China, because a lot of her settings are reminiscent of Asian culture. And she brought up something that I actually saw in a documentary, not recently, it's been a while, but real estate is so difficult in these high profile cities that literally people will rent spaces that are like less than the size of a body, and they're cages, and they're just stacked up on each other, and that's where they live. And she actually was commenting about that, about how people can't afford things other than living in human cages. So I thought that was really interesting that she brought that up, because it was shocking when I saw that on the documentary. So that was interesting that she brought that up. And I don't know if it was on purpose or she just took inspiration from that. But anyway, so you kind of get an idea about how really poor this place is, but how like wealthy the wealthy are at the same time. So there's a huge discrepancy, and it seems like there's almost not a middle class. It's either super rich or super poor. So then we get introduced into these games. The whole point of the book is that there's a Hunger Games-esque style thing going on that you can throw your name into. If you win, you supposedly win tons of money. You're able to go in front of the king, and you're recognized as the winner of these games. And that's pretty much the whole purpose of these books. And it seriously reads like a bad ripoff of Hunger Games. That is all I'm getting from it right now. I had quite a few quotes from that. But you put your name in, and you are brought into this arena, and kind of are sat there, and then to actually get into the games, like, your name is picked from a drawing. And then you are brought into this arena, and bags are dropped in front of you, and you have to race to go get the bags, which can have weapons in them. It can have stuff in them, but each bag has a chip, and you have to put the chip in your wristband, and that's what activates you into the games. And so Kala is approached by August, and August knows that Kala wants to kill his, well, I don't know what you would call him, but Kala wants to kill the king. And apparently August also wants the king gone. So they come up with a deal where August is basically going to help Kala and dispatch a bunch of people like in her name, so she gets credit for it in the games. And he brings her a chip, so she doesn't even have to show up at the arena and potentially get hurt there. And then she's able to go to the weapons store and get first dibs, because all the contestants are able to get one free weapon. So something that I've been failing to mention is the magic system in this. This does feel more sci-fi. Like, the more I talk about it, the more this just seems sci-fi to me, because the magic acts more like a sci-fi-esque type magic than actual fantasy magic. I don't know how to explain that exactly, but it's I don't understand the rules of them. Apparently, some people have this gene that allows them to take over other people's bodies. So I don't know if Kala can, because she's never done it before. I feel like we mentioned that she could, but she just doesn't do it. But August does it. So August will basically like flash out of his mind, and then he takes over somebody else, and you can walk off, and then you can flash over to somebody else, and flash over to somebody else, and you can just keep doing it. It's frowned upon by the crown, but they don't actually stop anyone from doing it. And it does seem like there's a whole gang that is like really good at it, but we haven't gotten to know them that well. We just know like you should stay out of their territory, or you're likely to get taken over. So the point, I've been waiting to bring it up, because our third character, which I haven't really talked about that much, Anton, because he doesn't have his physical body, he's basically a jumper. Like, he is constantly jumping from person to person to person. And they're always talking about these effects, like sickness that you can have if you stay in one body for too long. He doesn't seem to be really affected by it, but we know that it's real because he mentions somebody he cares for is currently in a coma because they suffered one of the ill effects. Because some of the ill effects are like, yeah, if you stay in a body too long that's not yours, you can get pushed out, and if you're not close enough to another viable body, you'll die. If you jump in and out really, really fast, you can get a sickness from it. And so there's like a bunch of like non-rules that you don't have to follow, but if you don't follow, you could get really, really sick. And then the other thing with that, this was so weird, bodies in this regenerate and they won't die if someone's soul isn't in it. So like during the games, Kala kills somebody or someone attacks her and then she responds and stabs them, something like that. And the person starts looking around for someone to jump into. So if that person had been able to jump into somebody else, their chi was able to jump into somebody else, their body would have not died. It would have regenerated and healed itself. And then you could jump back into the body and you would be fine. But if there's no one to jump into, then you and your chi winks out in the body, then the chi also dies and the body dies. So I thought that was really weird. I feel like that's just overcomplicated. It's unnecessarily complicated, and I feel like it's gonna be an issue later. I feel like there's gonna be plot holes with that later. That one's silly. Like that's there's just too many rules. There's too many things going on. There's too many things going on. Okay, let me look through some of these quotes that I highlighted. Okay, so this kind of gives a reason for Kella's what she did. Knuckles whiten, her palms sting with a memory of the map she picked up that day 5 years ago after she wandered into the war rooms without any aim and found pencil-drawn plans for the troops they were sending out into the provinces. That wasn't the only reason she snapped, but it was certainly the final push. So yeah, it just sounds like there's a lot of corruption going on, and she wasn't interested in dealing with that anymore. So there's that. Oh yeah, so I highlighted some things that felt very Hunger Games. So the purpose of the Dakun is to distribute chips for their wristbands, assigning a number to each of the 88. It's the easiest way to log who is killing who, to report on players in the reels without having to remember names and identities and histories. And that is very similar to the Hunger Games. Literally, the Hunger Games, they had chips implanted into them, so they were easy to track in the arena. And then you had, basically, they were called the girl from District 8, the boy from District 12, etc. Like, their names really weren't used that much once the killing actually started. Like, there was definitely more like fanfare and stuff with the Hunger Games stuff, but the actual like killing is very, very similar, and they were marked by their number or their district and who they were killing, and that was like considered their worth. So very Hunger Games feeling us there. The players rush for the bags, reckless and uncaring, and coming from every which direction, filling the spaces they can and shoving where they cannot. So very similar to like the cornucopia in the Hunger Games, where you have to run if you want to go get weapons. This, you didn't have to in the Hunger Games, which I think made a distinct difference. In this, you had to get a bag. Kala was the only one who did not have to get a bag. Okay, so here, Anton was talking about Oda. Perhaps he should be grateful he didn't bounce out from the jump, which the palace warns is the norm, which was what almost killed Oda and left her comatose in the hospital. So we don't know who she is. I'm assuming a sister. And it sounds like she tried to jump either too far or jumped into somebody who was stronger than she was, and she was bounced back out, and that's what left her sick in the hospital. And he can't pay her bills because they gave an example of, basically, if you can't pay bills, you're going to get kicked out of the hospital, and it doesn't matter. Like, even if you're minutes from death, they're just going to kick you out if you can't pay your bills. Okay, here it is. Here's the weird body thing. If he had escaped fast enough, the body would merely be abandoned. It would sit empty, a bloodless vessel with a cut down its middle, ready to be reused and occupied by another once the cut slowly stitched itself together. Empty vessels know how to fix themselves, just as a plant can regrow its bud. If the chi inside dies first, the body follows, rapidly gaining the odor of rot skin sagging right off the bone. This feels so much more sci-fi than fantasy. Like, did I get it wrong? Like, is this a sci-fi book, not a fantasy book? Because that's what it feels like. Also, it's just, I don't know, a lot of the games type of stuff is just off the page. Like, it was absolutely thrilling to see 23 total hits with 10 attributed to 57. So you don't see any of that on the page. You're just kind of told that many people were taken out. So I don't know, like, I feel like it promised games, but there's not really any games that are happening. Okay, I did highlight what Anton's parents did. Anton's father sat on the council, and his mother, the daughter of a former council member, strolled through the corridors of the Palace of Earth. Oh, and then we've introduced, like, this whole other thing. Like, like, if this wasn't enough, we've also introduced Sika, or the people are called Sikans, and it's a rival territory to, what is Sanair in? Sanair is in a territory. I don't remember what it's called. But Sika is one of the rivals, and they had war before. Basically, Sanair used to be thriving, and the city used to be elsewhere in this territory. But during the war, everyone got pushed, like, towards the coast. Basically, during this war, everyone got pushed towards the coast, and they created a new capital, Sanair, and just everybody lives there, and they've kind of foregone the rest of the country, and now they think that Sickens are back and are doing these hits out on people because they just found 2 people whose bodies were posed in the way that the Sickens would do. So I'm just like, what? Why are we adding more? Why are we adding more to this book? There was already too much going on. It's like too much and not enough at the same time. Like, I feel like we're getting a bunch of information that I'm not remotely even interested in, and getting no information about the stuff I'm actually interested in. So I don't know. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here's the last of what I'll talk about. Time went on, it became easier for the countryside to migrate to the new capital rather than rebuild and tend to its problems. While Sanair advanced and built new factories, invented new technology, and installed better signal towers, the rest of the provinces seemed to move backward, unable to put a plug in their drain of labor. So everything just kind of sucks. Like, that's what I'm getting from it. So that's kind of my little recap of the beginning, which I feel is super necessary to remember what's even going on in the book. I don't know where this is going. I honestly have no clue where this book is going, but I don't know. I was gonna say I'm here for it, but I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm really hoping I'll start liking it better, because this is rough. This is really rough so far. Okay, so I am about 50% into Immortal Longings, and I don't know how I feel about this book. Like, I really don't know how I feel, because I feel like I'm definitely enjoying it more than I was at the beginning of the book, which is a really good sign. I do like that. I still don't think it's very good. Like, I still don't think it's a good book so far, but I am enjoying what is happening currently more than before. I like that we didn't dive too deep into, like, the Sicken, like, that it's not actually Sickens that are doing this, and that it's actually this, like, holy order or whatever. I really should have highlighted what their name was. So I like that, because that kind of takes out an aspect of, like, outside forces doing things, and we're kind of still focused on the people within the city. So I do like that that was actually the problem and not the other thing. And I love that we're hinting at the fact that Kala is not actually Kala. I, like, gasped when she kind of was talking about it and how she doesn't jump, and I realized no one could actually jump into her. I was wondering why. I was wondering why there was that passage where she felt someone jumping into her, and she was like, oh, couldn't do it. I was like, okay, is she, like, secretly a Waisana, but her eye color is different? Or is she wearing contacts? Or, like, what's going on? But it's because she's doubled already. It's because she's doubled already. I'm pretty sure that's, like, what it's hinting at, because she was saying how she thinks that August will probably pick up on it. Did I highlight that section? Okay, so yeah, she says on page 120, an uncomfortable prickle strikes her chest, then a fit of nausea. Kala almost gasps. She hasn't felt the sensation in years. It fades as quickly as it came, but she has no doubt that someone just tried to invade her. So she has no problem getting rid of someone because she's doubled already, I'm pretty sure. And then yeah, this is where I'm pretty sure. So page 200, when you jump once, Anton pauses like he's doubting whether he should even ask. A beat passes, then he continues, and Kala almost laughs because she shouldn't be shocked at all that Anton Makusa was really listening. You still have to jump back out. Wasn't the second time better? So she never jumped out. So I don't know who the girl is who's in Kala, but Kala has been, her body's been doubled since she was like 8, I think, like since she was a little kid. So that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. And that's why she won't jump, because the body, like, the girl will take back over. Like, what? I thought you couldn't, like, I don't know. I'm so confused still how this, like, weird magic science fiction world kind of works, because didn't they mention that, like, the chi will disappear after a while? But obviously this girl's chi hasn't disappeared because she's still doubled and hasn't completely taken over. So I don't know what that means. So then the other things that we're doing right now is we're kind of figuring out about Ada. We just figured out that Ada was dating Anton, although I don't know if she actually was, because the way Anton talks about her, it's more like he has this responsibility to her, not that he, like, romantically cares about her. So I think he did probably, but it's been so long that he probably doesn't anymore. He just feels like he has to keep taking care of her because the crown won't. And it seems like she knows something, and that's why August is upset about her still being alive. And August now wants, Gallipé to go kill her. So she knows something. Like, she knows something. So I don't know what she knows. I'm assuming August maybe actually killed her. Right now his reasoning is, like, that he needs to get, like, Anton out of the games or something like that. I don't know. But Anton and Kella are working together. There's obviously some romantic chemistry that's supposed to be there. I don't really feel it that much. I don't really care about a romance happening in this as of currently, because it just is like, it's whatever. And I think that's about everything that is I'm updated on. So I think I'm actually like 60% in. I don't remember where I'm at exactly, but I don't know if I'll update again, because I feel like the book is moving pretty fast now, and I feel like I'm getting through it very quickly. But I don't know. I'll probably update at like 75% or closer to the end, right before it ends. But I don't know where this would go. I feel like this would have been totally fine as a standalone. I guess we do need a lot more, though, because we just found out Kala is not actually Kala, so that's gonna be, like, crazy talking about in the book. I don't know where they're gonna go with that either. If she's gonna jump out and become, like, somebody else, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know where they're going with that. I don't know where we're going with the games. I don't know where exactly, like, what this organization is doing, because we know a little bit about the organization because, oh yeah, that girl, where is she? Did I delete? Because I deleted some of my things. Pampy. Pampy is working with the palace and, like, doing some of the camera stuff, but she's also part of the bad guys, I guess. And she is also in the games. She has a wristband, so she's number 2 in the games, and she's working for the palace, but actually mainly working for the weird religious people. I don't remember what they're called. I really need to remember what they're called. So she's kind of like pulling the punches in the background. We also found out there's people who can jump without using light, which is interesting, and they have these, like, weird magical force abilities. I don't know. See, this is when it starts getting, like, too much. Like, that stuff wasn't necessary, but I am intrigued to know what's going on. And the reason we kind of learned some about them is because we're getting some of Pampy's perspective, and then we're also getting, oh shoot, one of Kala's attendants, their brother is part of the order, or does, like, their accounting or something. So I don't know. There's just a lot going on. So much going on. I feel like we really only needed Kala's perspective and potentially Anton's, and that's it. There was just so much going on, because we're also following August, we're following Pampy randomly times, we're following random other people sometimes. It's just a little too much. It's a little too much, and it needs to just backtrack a little bit. So I'm gonna keep reading. I really don't think this is gonna take me much longer. It's just weird. Like, this is just a weird book. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not close to DNFing. Like, I was at the beginning. I was a little like, I really want to DNF this, but I'm not going to, because I DNF'd one book in our book club already. So I'm not, but now I've gotten past, like, the halfway point. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of into this now, but I don't know. I feel like it depends if we continue this trajectory and if we have a good ending. I feel like if you have a good ending and I'm starting to care about these characters, then maybe, but I need more stakes with these characters. I need to feel more with these characters, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to continue reading. I really need to go charge my Kindle, because even though I have 2 physical copies of the book, I've been reading it on Kindle, and that's helping actually a lot get through it quickly. So yeah, I'm going to go do that, And yeah, that's about everything. So that's my little update, and I should hopefully finish this. Well, definitely not today. Today it is midnight. I just got back from work, so I figured I'd do my update when I got back from work before I can start reading again. I think I could maybe finish this tomorrow or Sunday. I'm trying to finish this before the last day of the month, because I want to be able to put this in my wrap up and not have this technically be the first book that I read in 2024. I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. So I will be trying to finish this before 2024, because I do plan to do the first thing that I do in 2024 is pick a book that I hope is a 5-star and read it as my first book of 2024. So anyway, really long update. Didn't expect it to be this long. I will get back to reading and update you either at 75% towards the end more, or the end. So I don't know at this point. Okay, I probably look really familiar from the beginning of the video because I tricked you. I actually finished reading it. Okay, so I did finish this. I read it mostly on Kindle, but I did finish and start the book with my physical copy. This is the Fairy Loop physical copy of it. I do have an Outcrate copy somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but oh, okay, yeah, finished the book. I finished the book. I literally just finished it. So this is like raw emotion, immediate reaction. And I really liked it. I do think that somewhat has to do with my low expectations, but I really liked it, and I really liked the end. Like, I loved the end. It was such a good fake out. I'm trying to think of when I updated you last. Okay, so we definitely got confirmation that Calla is not actually Calla. And she is just some village girl who jumped into the princess when they were like 8 or 9 years old. And she has never jumped out because she is afraid that princess is still living in her body, which I think is going to be a thing later. This is book 1 of 3 that I've seen. There's already Untitled number 2 and Untitled number 3 listed on Goodreads. So I think it is going to be a trilogy. But I really want to say that the princess is still living inside of Calla because she can't be jumped into, which Anton said it was just because she was really strong, but I'm not convinced. I think that's going to be a thing that we have to deal with either in book 2 or 3. So that's kind of my prediction for that future. I also, what did we talk about? I feel like there's not too much that happened. Oh yeah, who was it? What's her name? Lita, August's friend and like the captain of the guard or something like that. She turned out to be working with the religious group, which I still don't know the name of. The religious group. And so August had her arrested. We still don't know her fate. They didn't go over what her fate was, but August had her arrested, and August definitely already seemed like he was going down the bad path. Like, August already seemed like he is just going to be King Casa all over again, especially when he sent assassins to go kill Calla. I knew they were gonna kill Eno. I knew they were gonna kill him. I figured they were gonna kill him. He's like the sacrificial lamb character to upset Calla. And yeah, so I was not liking that, but I feel like it was a necessary thing in the book. Although I kind of wish they had made a little bit of a bigger deal out of his death. I feel like it was kind of glossed over a little bit. So I do wish we had went over it more. And also I don't know if we actually saw him deteriorate. So I don't know if he was actually dead or not. That's what I'm a little like, was he actually dead, or was his body just like resting? I don't know. That's why it's so weird with this book, because like anyone who dies, they might not actually be dead. They could have escaped, which brings me to the end, which is exactly what happened at the end, because they did a great fake out at the end. So basically not that much, like a ton of stuff happened. You just kind of learn more about, yeah, it's not actually the Sickens, it's Lita working with the not the royal guard, working with the religious group. And basically her explanation is the royalty sucks, they all need to go away. So she didn't really want to kill August, but she does not want him taking over. Like, she doesn't want him anywhere near the throne either, because she said he's just going to become just like his dad, because all royalty is corrupt. You're going to feel the power. You're not going to like people complaining to you. And she's right. Like, anyone with that much power, it tends to go sour. So then, of course, August, already showing his shittiness, kidnapped Anton and forced Anton and Calla to be in the final fight. And that was, oh my god, that was so sad. That was so sad. Calla killing him after telling him that she loves him, and I was just like, and knowing Chloe Gong, she would have actually killed him. Like, I was like, no way. No way. But it is a first book, so that could have been like the first romance, and then the next 2 books were her maybe finding someone else and something else going on. So I was like, she could have really killed him. She could have really killed him. But even better, it was a fake out, and Anton was able to escape and jump into August. And I was like, and he's pissed. He's pissed. I'm so excited. I was wondering why August wanted to see her, because my thought what was going to happen at the end was that Calla was going to end up in exile. I thought that August was basically going to bring her out and be like, this is the king killer, and was gonna like try to execute her, and she was gonna have to escape. I did not see it coming that Anton jumped into August, and now Anton is just so mad at her. I love it. Oh yeah, and then the other big thing that happened, because originally I thought Anton somehow like his chi snapped to Ada and actually took over Ada's body, because it said there was like a whirl of chi around her and then she sat up. So I was like, oh, so did Anton somehow make like a connection with Ada and then his chi was able to like snap into hers? But that was not the case. So I don't know what's going on with Ada, but she just woke up, and I have a feeling she's going to be like the villain in the next one. I don't know. I don't know where this series is going, because obviously August is a villain, but Anton right now has taken over August's body. So what's the story now? Like, is it going to be Anton trying to kill Calla in the next books? Or is this going to be Ada is the evil one? I don't know. This has like so many different directions it could take, and I did not expect to like it as much as I did. I definitely struggled with the beginning. So I am actually going to be giving this a 4-star. I'm shocked. I am shocked. I feel like I'm the only one who liked this. Because all my book club people are like, no. And I'm just like over here like vibing because I really liked it. Oh no, this is crazy. Guys, I really did like this book. And again, I do think some of it was because my expectations were so low that I just kind of went into this like whatever. Like, I didn't go into this thinking this was a book I was going to like. So me coming out actually being pretty happy with it, especially the ending, kind of excited about it. Things that I didn't like I said, I think there was too much going on. I think there was too many perspectives we were following. I think it ended up working out in the end, but it was very confusing early on. I think that there was too much going on with the Sickens. I am glad that that was kind of like taken out. I hope that's not reintroduced later. Like, I don't want that to be a thing later. I don't want this like outside thing also doing fighting, because we already have too much going on within the city. We don't need outside forces as well. So I hope that does not get included in. So that I didn't like that, because I was just like, Even though it was kind of like a fake out, I still just didn't like it even being a fake out. I just didn't want it involved at all. I do think that some of the chi stuff is a bit confusing. It's a bit weird. I feel like we're not following the rules sometimes that the story has laid out. So I hope we kind of get more of a structure in the later books, because I am confused sometimes what people can jump, when they can jump. Like, why did Anton's body that he was in gray, but his chi survived? Because it's not supposed to do that. So I don't know, unless he literally jumped the second the host died, and that way the body still died because the original person he was in died, because he had the body doubled. So I guess that's what it was, is that the actual person inside the body died and Anton jumped out before the person died. So that's, I guess, the only explanation for it. And sometimes the setting was a bit confusing. It was a little bit confusing. I wish almost that this wasn't taking place in like current day kind of thing, but I don't know how you would do it otherwise. Like, all of the technology but not being like an advanced, I don't know, it was just weird. The setting was a bit weird. That took a lot getting used to. So those are kind of things that kind of like I definitely struggled with early on. I do think it all ended up working out by the end. And yeah, I don't have that much to say about it because it was a very weird reading experience, to be honest. Things that I liked about it, I actually ended up really liking the characters. I originally didn't. I still don't know if Calla and Anton have a crazy amount of chemistry, but I kind of read the story less about the romance and more about their new friendship. So that's kind of why I liked them and was really sad about Anton's supposed death. So I think that chemistry can evolve a lot more in the next two books because it's not just like immediate romance, because I do think they threw out the I love yous very early. So there needs to be something that happens that kind of slows the romance down if this is supposed to be like heavier romance in the next two books. But I did like the characters. I ended up really liking Calla. It was definitely one of those situations where you're kind of just like about her, and then she slowly, like, you slowly start caring about her. Same with Anton. I was just about everybody at first, and then slowly throughout the book, like, you care more about them, you see more about them. It was like the characters are revealed to you super slowly throughout the book. So I definitely understand why people did not like this, because there definitely was not a connection with these characters for like 60% of the book. The connection to these characters definitely came towards the end when you started seeing like their humanity, because at first they did not have any. They had very little. Yeah, and I ended up really liking the politics of this world. It was very interesting to read what was going on, and I don't know, I just really liked it. I really liked it. But anyway, I really don't have that much more to say about it. I did give it 4 stars. This is going to be one of my most surprising books of the year because I expected to hate it. I really expected to hate it after everything I'd heard about it. But yeah, I really don't have anything else to say about it. Like, I literally have nothing else to say about it. So I think I'm just going to stop there. And I really want to see what you guys say about this, because I think people are going to have some really interesting things to say about this book, because it seems like people just really did not like it. So I'm really curious why people didn't like this. So yeah, make sure you comment down below as usual. Your comments can be as long as they want. I always read through them and try to respond to all your points. Make sure you tell me why you liked it, why you didn't like it, kind of what you hope to see in the next books, if you're going to continue. Yeah, I definitely want to know, are you guys going to continue reading the series? I definitely am. I actually really like this, so I will be continuing in the series, and I'm pretty excited for the next book. So I want to know if you guys are going to continue the series. I would love to know if you guys want to see anything specific in the next couple of books, like what you want to see from the characters, maybe some character growth, if you want to see some backstory. I definitely want some more backstory going on in this. And yeah, I'm nervous. I don't want there to be a love triangle between Anton, Ada, and Calla, and I feel like that's what's gonna happen, and I really, really don't want that to happen. So that's kind of my thing. Like, I don't want a love triangle, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen, or at least it's going to cause some havoc between Anton or Calla, if there's still a thing. I don't know if their relationship is just going to end after this book. I don't know. I'm really curious, but I really did love that ending. I really, really love that ending. So anyway, that is everything I have for you today. I hope you guys somewhat enjoyed the experience of reading this. I'm sorry this ended up seeming to be a dud for everybody. That really stinks. But anyway, like I said, make sure to comment down below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any next year's book club picks. In January, we will be reading The Unmaking of June Farrow, which I'm really, really excited about. I already have my copy upstairs. I think it's an Outcrate copy. I don't remember if it was Outcrate. I think it's Outcrate. And yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. Another fantasy pick. Hopefully it goes better than this fantasy book for most people. And yeah, that is everything I have for you today. So make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.